Sasha Martinengo.
Storming down the pit lane.
Weekdays from 12 to 2 p.m. Central African Time on bulls.co.za.
Visual radio, and here it is, the second installment.
Gearz. What the f*** with Sasha Martinengo on bulls.co.za.
All right, so I'll give you a little bit of a background. Last week, Thursday, and it's going to happen every single Thursday for as long as we are around. It is the chance for me to interview our prominent racing drivers and racing riders in South Africa. Give them a little bit of a chance, tell us a little bit about who they are, what they'll be doing, and so that you know the next time you're at a motor track, you hear the name Michael Steven, you go, hey, I heard him on Gearz, nothing wrong. He's come all the way from PE. He's a great young man. Michael, great to have you on the show, bud. Oh, okay, I've got to do that. Yeah, I believe you got a bit lost.
Yeah, Joburg hasn't been my best destination when it gets to getting around, but we made it eventually.
Well, there we go. Amazingly, you won't believe he's in studio here as well, but we're not going to chat to him much today. But it's Simon Moss. And if you were listening to Tasman Pepper last week, she had a little bit of a go at Simon. So I think there's going to be no love lost when it comes to the track this weekend between them. But let's find out who Michael Steven is. Have you always been for PE?
Yeah, I was actually born in Pretoria.
Oh, okay.
And moved down to PE when probably about 3 months old. So I don't have any recollection from that time, obviously. But since then, grown up in PE and stayed there all my life.
So the scary thing is you're going to have to support the Kings.
I don't have to. I have got the option of supporting the Bulls as well.
That's my man. There we go. Okay, we're getting onto a right footing over here. The Bulls, of course, playing against the Chiefs tomorrow down in New Zealand. So you went to school in Port Elizabeth. Where did you go to school?
I went to high school. I went to Alexander Road High.
Okay.
And primary school, Territon Park. So
all right. So
decent upbringing.
It's your town.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's definitely your town. And when you were at school, I mean, did you play all sports, or did you somehow get this bug that you needed to go and drive go-karts and race cars?
Yeah, racing was obviously my passion,
Okay.
my number one sport, but I did everything else from swimming, cricket, hockey, tennis, squash. I was one of those guys who never had a spare moment to do anything else because I was doing something. So it wasn't just a one-way motor racing all the way, but now it is.
So did your parents, are your parents from a motoring background, or, I mean, how did you sit there and go, hell, or where did you first see racing that you said, listen, I want to try that? Because, I mean, listen, at school, you go play hockey because there's a field there, rugby, there's a field, tennis, etc., etc. But it's not as though you have racetracks at schools.
Yeah, well, my dad tried to race back in the day.
Okay.
He didn't make a success of it, so he went into the admin side of it.
Let's just stick that away there. Mr. Steven, your son has just given you a finger. Anyway, no, he didn't. Anyway, but he supported you.
Yeah, most definitely. And he was involved in the admin side of running the kart club in Port Elizabeth.
Okay.
And we grew up at the racetrack. And one thing led to another. I got sponsored a kart at the age of 7 years old. And things just led on from there.
So karting, of course, is the way to go. When you were karting, I mean, did you race just regionally, or did you race all over the country? Did you go and race overseas? I know you're still doing a lot of karting, but let's go back into your youth when you were sort of still from 7 years old, let's say, to 13, 14. Where did you race and how did you perform?
We started in GP Juniors, which was an age category from 7 years to 12 years.
Okay.
And pretty much started on the local scene, in the Eastern Cape between PE and East London. And I think it was in my second or third year we started doing the national scene, and we started traveling to Cape Town, Durban, Joburg, and get a hold of the national competitors and the national tracks. And that's pretty much how it started. And from GP Juniors we moved on to the next class, which was 100 stocks.
Okay.
And again, carried on the national scene and on a regional level, and just getting as much mileage and track time as possible, that the budget allowed at the time.
Okay, and that listen, we'll come to it just now. I mean, motorsport is not a cheap way of living your life, but most probably if you do it, it's most probably not much more expensive than playing golf every weekend of your life, because that's also very, very expensive. So you did karting, and then from there, where did you decide to go?
Well, I continued karting, to the more senior classes, and had some success there. And ultimately, I think everyone's dream is to get into main circuit. And I had the opportunity from karting, one of the guys let me use their regional car on a race meeting, and I went out and won first time. And from there on, Terry Moss was at the track. He spotted me, put me into one of his polos, on a occasional basis. That landed up being a permanent drive, and one thing led to another, and this landed up where we are today, and we've had a career of I think 10-11 years so far with Terry Moss Racing.
I mean, that's quite amazing. You are very much a Terry Moss driver, and you have been for a very, very long time. So it's great to have his kind of support. It must be quite tough to have to hang around his son all the time. You have to be nice to him.
No, it's not so bad. We've also, I remember meeting him for the first time. I think he was 3 or 4 years old at the track.
Yeah.
And it's a relationship that develops over years, and it's a fruitful one for me and for Terry Moss Racing. So. I'm one of those guys. I like to stick with the people who supported me, and I'll do what I can to support them.
Yeah, which is admirable. Now, the thing is, we'll get into your racing that you're doing currently here in South Africa, but I've seen you at the airport a couple of times. You're on your way to go and do some karting overseas. How's that gone, and how tough is it over there? And once you're there, if you do well, why aren't you staying there?
Well, there are a couple of things. Yes, one of the nice things about South Africa in the more recent years is you've had the opportunity to go compete in the World Finals.
Yeah.
I think I've done it a couple of times in Italy, Lenato. Best result being third in the World Finals in the Super Rock.
Okay.
And so I've had some good success overseas. I think the biggest problem is one, rand to euro exchange rate. It's not always viable for us to go over there. You need quite a lot of money to go and do it.
Sure.
Also, going over there, you've got to secure the proper drive. It's cheap to go over if you want to drive with, a Mickey Mouse team, but you've got to be in the right team at the right place if you really want to prove yourself.
Yeah, it's not that easy. All right, we're talking to Michael Stephen on our brand new feature, which is
Gearz. What the f*** with Sasha Martinengo.
We're trying
on
to.
bulls.co.za.
Oh, sorry, interrupted. We're trying to find out a little bit more about him. We'll talk about his current racing strategies and pedigree, and also what he's aiming to achieve in the next couple of years. But in the meantime, here's who the is Michael Stephen is currently in studio. He's actually brought along his sponsor's son, Simon. We'll get him in the studio very soon. Simon's tongue was actually all over the floor because he saw Nicole Flint for the first time. It's like he just cannot keep himself together here. It's incredible. Anyway, Michael, I remember the first time I saw you were racing in the polos. I remember you used to wear the sort of orangey, what do you call it? The overall.
I was hoping to forget that.
Yes, no. Well, unfortunately, it did stick out. Nowadays, you're in a much more elegant. You're still wearing the black.
Yeah, most definitely.
There we go.
A lot more elegant than the yellow.
Yes, yeah, that was different. But I suppose you are dictated to by sponsors as to what you wear. So let's tell everybody what you're currently doing. And you've been let's go. You were in Polo Cup for a couple of years. And now you have progressed into Bridgestone Production Cars, Class A. How long have you been doing it now?
I think we started in the Bridgestone Production Class A in 2005.
Yeah.
It was only for half a year. We set out for half a year while we were building new cars. And pretty much since then, we've been competing up until now.
And it's all been Audi?
All been Audi, yes.
Now you got a teammate?
Yeah, I've had a couple. Chops Sepuka's my teammate at the moment.
Okay.
He was with me right in the beginning when Audi came back.
Yeah.
Then it was Sean Watson-Smith for a while.
Yes.
And,
he won the championship, though.
He won the championship, in 2007. And then Chops is back in the team now.
Okay.
I think since the last 2 years he's been back there.
Now, do you guys get on?
Yeah, we get on pretty well on and off the track. So no hard feelings between each other. It always helps.
No, it does. It's a very competitive class. It is in my opinion, the highest quality of driving in terms of tin tops. I'm not talking about single seaters and that kind of stuff. But out of all of the other categories, the highest quality of driving, although you guys do sometimes think they are stock cars. And, like to take each other's... I sit there and I feel desperate for the mechanics, because I sit there, mechanics and your panel beater guys, the cars are immaculate. Then you come out after one race and the thing's broken in half.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the country's top drivers. I think are pretty much all there. And one thing, the cars do get damaged, and we do have accident damage. But I think there's also a lot of mutual respect amongst the drivers.
Of course.
So when you're on track, rubbing is racing. So you do have a lot of that, but the rookie errors that you get made in the lower formulas and that tends to be left out of it. So it's there is some bodywork damage, but it's normally quite easy to repair.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's incredibly close racing. Who are your main competitors? Okay, well let's first of all, Class A, you drive for Terry Moss Racing in the Audi. Is it the A5 or the A4?
Actually, the S4.
S4,
so it's a 3
okay.
litre supercharged engine.
3 litre supercharged engine. You got your teammate next to you. How have things gone so far? How many races you've had? 3.
We've had 3 races.
3 races so far. How's it gone?
The season started off very well. Obviously, winning the championship last year, we wanted to start the season the way we end off. And we qualified at pole at Swartkorps last time out, won the first race. Unfortunately, an underbonnet fire in race 3, set us out of that one. Cape Town, the second round, finished 3rd overall for the day. I didn't have one of the best performances myself. I made 1 or 2 driving mistakes, which cost us a race win down there. But we put that all behind us, and PE we won 2 of the 3 races, finished second in race 2, and overall honours, which took us back from 4th, to 2nd in the championship, and really back on track, to looking at securing another championship this year.
So who's leading the championship at the moment?
At the moment, Henny Groenewold's leading.
Oh, okay. Is he in the Subaru?
He's in the Subaru, yeah.
Wow.
I think his biggest, tribute this year has been consistency.
Yeah, because they've had last year they were up and down. They were magic in one event, and then the next event they were nowhere.
Yeah, I think they also had a few reliability issues last year, which they seem to sorted this year. So he's definitely a title contender. As long as the BMW, I think Anthony Taylor is always going to be there and giving us a run for his money.
Tom, let's ask you about some of your drives that you had. I suppose your first ever win in production cars must have been really sweet.
Yeah, that certainly was. I think that came at Kyalami a couple of years ago.
And to win at Kyalami is stunning.
Yeah, most definitely. That to me is the ultimate track in South Africa.
Yeah.
The fact that we don't go there anymore is
very
quite
sad.
A shame. So hopefully we get back there soon. But yeah, I think your first win's always memorable. But I think the next one that stands out would probably be winning at Swartkorps end of last year, to secure my first championship. Yeah,
which you must have been. You've worked hard. You've been there for like 6-7 years.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's the pressure that you're under. I think we went into the round 1 point apart, myself and Johan Fourie. And so it's all or nothing. And we gave it all and came out with everything.
Yeah, that must be very, very special. Have you ever been in a race where you may have made a mistake or caused an accident? And I know racing, these things do happen. Unfortunately, accidents do happen. But you actually sit there and maybe you put your hands in your head and say, "Oh, Michael, that was really, really stupid." Have you ever had to apologize to anybody?
Yeah, I have apologized to a couple of guys. Never caused a major accident.
Okay.
Except for...
So you're not like that Sorenstam guy who took out the whole field in PE a few years ago?
Circuit racing, you've taken out 1 or 2 guys, but nothing major. Biggest accident would be karting 1997. My return after a year and a half off. I think if we counted back, it was 17 karts in the first lap. So I didn't physically contact all of them, but my contact with someone else led to the whole
little bit of a
kart
domino
field being taken out and a red flag, and
So you're our new Jody Scheckter. Hey, nothing wrong with that. He was responsible for a couple of things like that. Any drivers that you dislike in the sense of maybe personally or maybe on the track where you sit there and go, "Hey, this is a guy, he just has no respect"?
No, I think
everyone
not
got
in
a
South
level
Africa.
head?
Everyone's pretty much got a level head.
Yeah.
I've always been a guy who gets along with most people, and if I don't like someone, I try and avoid them, so then I don't have a problem with them.
There we go, perfect. Now the thing is, you've won the championship, you've won production cars. Where's there to go now for Michael Stephen?
Well, obviously the first aim is to follow up that with a second win this year.
Okay.
That's the first target. Overseas, obviously, we all have ambitions to go race overseas.
Sure.
Mine isn't Formula 1, but maybe something like World Touring Cars, German Touring Cars, or British Touring Cars. Something at that level, where, German Touring Cars, there are a lot of ex-Formula 1 drivers,
Sure.
a lot of drivers who are aspiring to Formula 1. And that's ultimately, even if it's just a single one-off race, that's what I would like to do.
And listen, you've got a great relationship with Terry Moss Racing. You've got a great relationship with Audi. So, surely, you're trying to put procedures in place that does become a reality.
Yeah, we always try. Whenever there's an opening, that's something that we would look at. But, it all revolves back to money and opportunities, being at the right place at the right time.
Come on, Audi!
And, let's hope something happens in the future and we can make it happen.
Throw some cash at our young talent over here, and let's make sure that we get them there. Michael, this weekend, a big weekend, Westbank Super Series, Swartkorps, as you say, a happy ground for you, especially last year, winning the championship for the first time. But it's going to be competitive.
Yeah, most definitely. I think we've won 5 heats out of the last 10 that we've been here, so it's definitely a happy hunting ground for us. But, it's a home track for the BMW and the Subaru. I know they've been putting in a lot of testing, and the times we've heard are quick. But, back on the other end of the world, we've been doing the same. And we're coming in quietly confident that we can match them and bring off some good results and hopefully take the championship lead after this round.
That's terrific. So there we have it. Michael, Stephen, if you're not doing anything this weekend, get yourself down to Swartkorp Raceway. That is just outside Pretoria. It is always, I must say, one of the great facilities that we have in the country. We always have a great turnout there as well. And we've got to get more people, Michael, before we let you go. We've got to get more people coming to races.
Yeah, most definitely. Driving in front of nobody, when it doesn't give you, that feeling that a driver needs. Tracks that always promote a good crowd are Swartkorps, PE, our home track. There's thousands of people there in Cape Town, and the atmosphere when there's so many people is just brilliant. And we encourage you to come watch the racing. It's
sure.
You can walk through the pits, meet the drivers, see the cars. A lot of the teams have got posters to hand out, and it's really a great day at the track for a family to come out and watch and support.
There we go. I couldn't have said it any better. You should become a promoter. Well, you do quite a lot of it down in PE as well. Michael, it's great to have you here in the studio. Wish you all of it continued success, and belated congratulations on your title last year. I'm sure it's going to be some hectic racing as always. I'd love to be there. Unfortunately, I've got other commitments. I can't be there this Saturday, but I'll definitely be following the progress. So wish you really well, and thanks for coming to visit us.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for having me on the show, and look forward to seeing you in the future again.
Thank you very much. Michael Stephen, production car champion 2011 Class A in the Terry Moss Audi S4. Go to Swartkorps, go and support our brilliant South African talent.
Gearz on bulls.co.za with Sasha Martinengo.
He's kept himself out of trouble.
Weekdays from 12 to 2 p.m. Central African Time.